Now it's working. Good morning, Sanbonan. Melane, I come from Sandral. Welcome to the information session. Yase Victor Khanye. Sorry that we've been delayed a little bit. Besasemele ukuthi nicethe ukuregister laphayana. And we were just waiting for at least a little bit more stakeholders to come in. Welcome everyone today for the stakeholder once again. Is there anyone from the municipality that can actually do the welcome for us, or not yet? Is there anyone from the municipality? Okay, maybe there's no one. But you are all welcome as stakeholders. This is an information session for Sandral projects. At this stage, it is an information session for business people or for potential business people. The information session abantu abafuna ukutenderisha kuma projects we Sandrali or abangafisa ukutenderisha kuma projects we Sandral. So what we are going to be doing today is actually just sharing information to you business people about the projects that we have. Before we can start, please make sure that ugcwalise attendance register. You have completed the attendance register by doing what they asked you to do at the gate. But *134 *38848#. If you have not done that, you have not completed the attendance register. So it's very important for you as a business person that you are here today to make sure that you have completed the attendance register, because if you have not completed the attendance register, you might not be in a position to get some of the information that will be presented today. So kuze kuthi sikhona ukukusendela lama presentation either via email or whichever way oyifakile la ku star what, we will be able to communicate with you, share information including the presentations that are actually going to be done today. So make sure you've completed the attendance register. So we were supposed to have the municipality giving us a welcome, but I don't know if there is, just for the last time, is there someone from the municipality? Please come forward, Baba. Stella Uzomanu Zenzeli, welcome. Please, we are just on the first item of the agenda. So if you can just come forward, please. Sorry that I've started without you. We just need you to actually welcome.
No,
it's just
no,
the
it's
opening
fine.
welcome and that's it.
No, the mayor is coming to it. You can proceed, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I've been told that the political principals will join us. So maybe we can leave the welcome when they actually arrive, or we can leave it for them to close the session for us. The thing is, I don't want to keep you waiting, and I think the most important thing is actually in the information that we want. So I think a welcome can always come at a later stage. I think for me, it's just two things. I'm going to do an introduction, quick introduction, because that is also maybe not that much of importance, and then give a purpose of this session, and then we will then move on to the presentations. Just so that you know, we have got two of these sessions today. Leyo qala fanele ngabe iqale ngo-10 until 12 o'clock la, and then we're going to move on to another venue. I think Bate Ebotleng extension 3 somewhere. We're going to move there to do exactly the same thing as Zobesi and Zela. So you don't need to attend both sessions. Once you've attended here, because of COVID reasons, sifuna abanye nabo bakhona ukuthola a chance on the other side. So please make sure you just attend this one. Information uzoyithola mawufake attendance, mawugcwalisile labo star what, and then everything else will be circulated to you. So you don't have to actually attend the other session. As I had said, I'm going to do a quick introduction. Ubaba lo bekalana wasema municipality lo uqeda ukusitshela ukuthi the mayor will join us. And then bese ngishizo, my name is Kwanele. I come from Sandral. I'm a project manager at Sandral. From Sandral side, I have got 2 project managers with me. Fulu Fellow, if you can just wave. She is also a project manager for one of the projects that we will be discussing or presenting about today. And then we've also got Usis Karabo. She is also a project manager at Sandral. She is a project manager for one of the 2 projects that we will actually be presenting about here. And then we have a PLC, a project licensing committee. I'm not sure if there is a member of the PLC that has actually joined us here today. Then we've got 2 projects. The first project is the routine road maintenance project. Sandral has appointed a main contractor. Rail Refurb is the main contractor, represented here by Mr. Dominic. The main contractor is being supervised by a consultant. The name of the consultant is Zimile Consulting. Not sure who is from Zimile. Zimile. And then, that is the one project. Then we have got a reseal project that is coming on the N12. Because we are still at a certain stage of the project. If I remember correctly, we are probably at prelim or at design stage with the reseal project, the N12. Itala like Delmasi, Iopelele Petroport, and then from Petroport all the way to Ogies. But they will give us the information. Fulu is the project manager on that job. The consultants, there are 2 consultants because the project reseal is differentiated into 2 sections. The first section starts in Delmas and ends at Petroport, and Rovungo Nyama is the consultant. So kona si appoint a consultant, sisase busy ngama design so that we can appoint a main contractor, and therefore things will unfold. Then on the second section, si appointe Endecon Ubuntu consulting engineers. They are not here today, but I'm sure Fulu will be able to give you the information that you need pertaining to the status of the project here reseal on the N12. So it's 2 projects. One is RRM and then the other one is reseal. The reseal is actually separated into 2. There's 2 different sections. So that is as far as I go with my introduction. I see the agenda says I must introduce the business community, but the business community is each and every one of you that is actually sitting in front of me today. You don't need an introduction. Your presence is just enough. Thank you. So, why are we here today? So the purpose of today is Sandral has been here before. Sandral, there was an event taking Sandral to the people that was organized, and I think it was here. If I remember correctly, you can remind me, it was probably October last year. So in that presentation, we presented projects that will be implemented here. And we said, on those projects, there are opportunities for local businesses to participate in. So we are back again. One of those projects now wants to actually incorporate you as the business community. Sesifuna ukuthenda ke manje for inyala ma project. Namuhla we are here to give you the details. Kuzothendarwa for muphi umsebenzi, yini scope saloyo umsebenzi ozothendarwa. Possibly we will get dates also. What are the dates, the tendering dates of when you must be ready with what? I'm not sure in the presentations if we will cover some of the requirements that you as the business people should have so that you can be able to tender or submit a tender, because there's no point in us telling you ama opportunity akhona but anazi ukuthi kungenwa njani kulawo opportunity. So today we are here to kind of like give you a little bit of detail with respect to the opportunities that are available. Obviously from a routine road maintenance project point of view, that is imminent, because if we want to tender for subcontracting opportunities and we already have a program, that is something that is actually going to be happening very soon. That is why we called for this session. We could have disseminated this information in other ways, but because siyazi ngasinye isikhathi when you disseminate information, it doesn't get to everybody. But when you call for a session like this to say, as soma business, woza uzozizwela wena ukuthi esandrali yini scope semsebenzi esi available, izovalwa nini tender or izovulwa nini tender, so that as a business person you can then align yourself. It's also an opportunity for you as a business person to network. You need to see around you who is here today, so that for some of these work that will be presented here, if you feel like joint venturing, sizobe presenter lana, for instance, ukuthi if you are a business person and you are a woman, you are going to stand a better chance because there are points for women. So you need to see as indoda ukuthi nga joint venture no mama la sizothola ama point, singa joint venture ne youth la ngizothola ama point. So it's not about the information alone, it is also about a networking opportunity for you as a business person, so that you can be able to identify someone that might actually stand you good if you partner them. So the main purpose of today is to give you this information that is eminent. Sizonikeza lo information ngokuthi nitenda kanjani lapho khona sekufike lesikhathi. On the one project where we are still busy with designs, mhlambe khona sizonitshela nje ukuthi si expecte ukwenza ini nini, because this other project is not as actually close as the other project. So nizozwela nini ukuthi okay si plan uku-appoint main contractor maybe next year ngo 2022. So kusho ukuthini ke for nina bosoma business mangabe i-main contractor izobe appointwa next year. Those are some of the things that will then be actually given in some of the presentations that will be shown today. So we are going to do it like this. We are going to start with the routine road maintenance presentation, and thereafter we are going to jump into the resale presentations, and then after we will take a question and answer session. Hopefully there's not going to be a lot of questions because the information is over clear, so that this is ukuthi si wrap up le session lena siqhubekele kule nyihola abayi-organizile extension 3, if I'm not mistaken. So Dominic, I don't see your presentation on the screen. I'm not sure how or if she can help you with that, but you can use this mic so long.
Could I sit? Okay. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me at the back? Okay, great.
My name's Dominic Adams, and I'm the contracts manager for Rail Refurb. And we're working on project X.002-105-2019-1, which is routine road maintenance on the N12 and the R573. In this presentation, I'd like to just cover the extent of works for the subcontracts we're going to be putting out. I'd like to introduce the project management team on the project, some subcontracting, while subcontracting the works, the key milestones, and the proposed engagement plan. Then I'll go through the subcontracting document, look at the purpose of the clarification presentation, a list of the returnable schedules, how the tenders will be evaluated. We'll cover some common errors made by tenderers. I'll look at the CPG or contracts participation goals, the scope of works for each package, the compulsory clarification presentation, how tender documents are received by prospective tenderers, and the submission of tender documents. If you look at the map, the project is broken up into two roads. The first is the N12, section 19 and 20. And the second, and then also there's a small piece of the R555. And then the R573, section 2, and the R573, section 3. The R555 runs from kilometer 0 to kilometer 7.5. With a total length of 7.5 kilometers. Section 2 of the R573 runs from kilometer 0 to kilometer 48.6, which is a total of 48.6 kilometers. The R573 section 3 runs from kilometer 13 to kilometer 19.5, and there's a total of 6.2 kilometers. And the N12 section 19 runs from kilometer 41 to kilometer 54.48, which is a total of 13.48 kilometers. And finally, the N12 section 20 runs from kilometer 0 to kilometer 68.89, which is a total of 68.89 kilometers. Just introducing the PMT, which stands for Project Management Team. The project manager from the client Sunroll is Ms. Karaba Utlua. The consulting team from Zimile Consulting. The contract engineer is Mr. Peter Gema. The assistant contract engineer is Mr. Nsika Mhlanga. The OHS agent is Mr. Sanele Mieni. The route manager is Ms. Asanda Koti. The assistant route manager, one of the assistant route managers, Mr. Comfort Mgiba. And the other assistant route manager is Ms. Tembelihle Mabena. The contractors team from Rail Refurb is myself, Dominic Adams, as the contracts manager, and the site agent, Timothy Masalesa. If we look at the key milestones of the subcontracting, the first 3 steps to register the project and allocate the project manager, appoint consultants, and appoint contractor have been done. The next step is to appoint the subcontractors, monitor the progress of the subcontractors, and that will take us through to the termination of the project. The main contractor has been appointed. We've done the market analysis. There has been a roads needs analysis done, and we have identified potential packages, which we then took to the PLC, and they gave us their input, and we have amended the packages as such. We have the we have the final subcontracting documents now, and we have confirmed all the documents with the PLCs. This is the SMME workshop. The subcontracting tender is open, just so everybody here, if you didn't see the advert on Friday, it is out. So we have already advertised the packages, just to let anyone or everyone know that that has been opened. On the 27th of September, the subcontracting tender will close, and we will prepare an evaluation report. This evaluation report will be given to the PLC for comment and for their insight, and after which we'll appoint subcontractors. Once appointing subcontractors, we'll monitor the progress of the subcontractors in site, with empowerment in mind, specifically the movement up the CIDB gradings and the acquisition of skills on site. The purpose of the clarification presentation, now everyone who is interested and emails the email on the advert will receive the tender documents. In the tender documents there is an A1.1 form. This A1.1 form needs to be returned via email to the same email address, and then you will be sent you'll be sent the clarification presentation. Now, the clarification presentation is important because every tender document differs and is technical, and the clarification presentation will assist in filling in those documents so that no one is disqualified because of a small error in the tender document. So the clarification presentation is very important, and I would recommend when filling in the document to do that in conjunction with the clarification presentation, because it will give a lot of insight onto how the document should be filled in and how we're expecting the document to be filled in. The list of returnable schedules, I'm not going to, this is in the tender document, just to get an idea of the returnables that we will be expecting. It'll be a certificate of tender briefing, a certificate of intention to submit a tender, a certificate of authority for signatory, a certificate of single tender submission, certificate of functioning practices, a declaration form of management and domestic prominent and influential persons, foreign prominent public officials and foreign influential nationals, a certificate of permission to conduct due diligence, a compulsory declaration, and a certificate of an independent tender. A declaration of a tender's supply chain management practices, a registration on the National Treasury Central Supplier Database. You can see these items highlighted in yellow form part of the eligibility criteria. These need to be in place, otherwise your tender will be rendered non-compliant. So registration on the CSD is very important. Declaration certificate of local production and content for designated sectors, a local concept declaration, schedules of deviations or qualification by tender, schedule of agenda to tender documents, certificate of tax compliance, and tender's banking details. And then schedule of current commitments, certificate of compliance with COIDA, the BBBE certification, verification, a schedule of work experience, a schedule of contractors' equipment, contracts establishment on site and general obligations, and schedule of tender compliance, form of offer, and contract data, and then finally the pricing schedule. So all these documents will need to be returned to form a fully complete tender. During the tender evaluation, the first step that we will take is to look at the functionality. And the functionality is broken up into three groups, or three points. Points are given for the locality of the business, the CIDB grading of the business, and then there are bonus points for designated groups. A tenderer must score at least 75% in order to be eligible to submit a tender. Anybody who scores 75 or less, or 74 or less, will not be evaluated further. To have a closer look at how these points are achieved, for locality, if the tenderer is for 1 CE and 2 CE companies. If the tenderer is based in the local municipality, they will receive 60 points. And if the tenderer is in the district municipality, they'll receive 45 points. If the tenderer is outside of the district municipality, they will receive 0 points. In terms of the CIDB grading, if the tender is registered as a CIDB 1, they'll receive 30 points, and if they're registered as a CIDB 2, they'll receive 30 points. Now, you can see quite clearly that if somebody is based in the district municipality, they'll receive the 45 points, and then if they are registered with the CIDB either as a 1 or a 2, they'll receive 30 points. So you'll get your 75 points for any 1 and 2 companies within the district municipality.
Dominic, sorry, can I just come in here? I think this slide is very, very important. Osoma business. Bathi la kule slide less. Kuzoba nomsebenzi wama grade 1 nama grade 2. Ama grade 1 ayenza umsebenzi or equivalent to 500,000 in a financial year. Ama grade 2 enza umsebenzi or equivalent to R1 million in a financial year. For ukuthi ungene uzodingeka ukuthi uthole 75 points from a possible 100 points. So see Sandra, kule document le, we made sure that if you are coming from the target area, sikhuluma ngeVictor Khanye kwanyalo, mawubuya eVictor Khanye ungisoma business ufaka itender, already uthola 60 points, 60, just for locality. Niyabona ukuthi kulikhuni kanjani ukuthi umuntu waseGauteng abuya azokhona ukutendara just for lo msebenzi wama grade 1s nama grade 2s. So I think it's very important for you to understand that, because ama grade 1 I2 ayakhona ukwenza umsebenzi we grade 2. Niyangizwa ukuthi ngithini. So what is very, very, very important is the fact that we have tried to protect the smaller grades so that at least bangaphuma la eVictor Khanye. For the bigger grades, it then becomes a little bit different, because for grade 3 and 4 still you get 60 points from being local, meaning from a Victor Khanye. But because grade 3 and a grade 4, ama grade 3 seconds umsebenzi wa 3 million, ama grade 4 seconds our 6 million. There is a possibility that those are more established companies in such a way that we can allow someone coming from the district to score 40 points from a locality. By district, sikhuluma ngenkangala district. Angithi nibonile bafake ne-R555 kule project le. I-R555 ile ne-R57 Moloto Road. So mawuphuma ku district for the bigger grades, you will probably be able to get in. But mawuthola 40 points, you still need another 35 for you to actually make it. Otherwise, if you don't get the 70, itenda yakho kufana nokuthi iphelelwe lapho so uhlulekile. So what will then happen is, we've got the CIDB gradings also. If we grade 1 utendarela umsebenzi wama grade 1 uthola 30 points. If we grade 2 utendarela umsebenzi wama grade 2 uthola 30 points as well. But now we grade 3, meaning you are a more established company, if you tender for umsebenzi wama grade 1 uthola 0. That is us still trying to protect our grade 1s and 2s. The bigger companies mustn't come and fight with the smaller companies. We grade 3 or we grade 4. Hambo computer neintanga zakho lapha. Thina la ku grade 1 na ku grade 2 sisafika kule industry sifuna ukukhompyutha sodwana sizokhona bazochaza ukuthi ama grade 1 nama grade 2 azobe enza umsebenzi muni. But I think it's very important for you to understand that we've actually tried to secure some work for the grade 1s and 2s, which is some of you here. And the more established companies can then compete with their own equivalents. Then the last place of scoring points is the designated group. So asithi la ku locality ukorile na ku CIDB utendarela lo msebenzi kufanele ngawe utendarela, so you're getting the correct points. Then there's the last section in this functionality where if the business is owned by youth get points, you get 5 points for the business being owned. Akusana ndaba ukuthi ama grade 1, ama grade 2, ama grade 3, ama grade 4. But mangabe business owner youth kunama point. If a business owner abo mama, it's women owned, there's points for that as well. If a business owner abantu abakhubazekile baba, kunama point wabo nje labo ukuthi the business owner is actually disabled. There are points for that, and military veterans as well. There are points for that. So I think I just wanted to do justice to the slide in terms of there is more that we have done that you need to appreciate, so that the smaller grades can be able to actually be accommodated, and the bigger grades can be able to actually then compete amongst each other. Sorry, I just wanted to add on to that. I thought it was very important. Continue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Simlani. That I think that covers it very well. Then if we move on to the next slide, common errors in submitting the tenders. The first common error is not submitting an intention to tender certificate. And what that is your A1.1 form. So when you receive your tender documents after emailing the email address and you receive your tender documents, it's very important that immediately you take the A1.1 form, you fill it in and you email it back to us. And that has to happen within 7 days of receiving your documents. So that is a very common error, and the problem is if you don't send that A1.1 form, you won't receive the clarification briefing, and from there you're going to miss out the whole way down. Late submission, the documents, there will be a physical submission, and the closing time is 11 o'clock. Please don't rely on us being understanding. Unfortunately, we create a closing time, and even if you're 1 second past that closing time, you're late. The reason we do that is if we make an exception for one person, it then results in us having to make exceptions for everybody. So please make sure that you get there beforehand and submit the tenders on time. Submitting expired documents, your SARS tax clearance, CIDB, Triple BE, cert, letter of good standing, and SIPC. All those documents have to be relevant and updated, and they can't be expired. Joint venture contract data, I must say, if you are going to enter into joint ventures for these projects, please just read the requirements that the subcontracting document asks for. It's not just a matter of a joint venture agreement. There are joint BEE certificates. There are various other things that you need to do for your joint venture to make sure that it's acceptable. So if you are going to enter a joint venture, there's a section in the document that covers it. Please just read that section very carefully. The failure to complete forms in the tender document, there's no aspect of the tender document that can just be left out. Every aspect has to be filled in and signed. If you find yourself leaving out a portion of the tender documents, you're running a very real risk that you're going to make yourself non-compliant. That's where I would recommend going back to the clarification presentation, where you'll be given a step-by-step guide on exactly how to fill in every single portion of the contract. In a tender document, there's no unnecessary papers in there. Every single paper has to be filled in and signed. Failure to apply instructions contained in the addenda. We've now advertised, and we're going to be sending documents to everybody who's requested. Often what will happen is, as tenderers go through the document, they'll pick up small errors, well, hopefully not, but sometimes they'll pick up small errors in the document and let us know about it, and that gives us an opportunity to send out an addendum to everybody, changing the error. So it's very important that when you send a document or an addendum, that you apply what is in the addendum as it overrules what's in the existing subcontracting document. Electing not to accept proposed corrections. If you've maybe left out a price in your BOQ or something like that, this normally relates to arithmetical errors, like you haven't added it up correctly, or there's an error in your the multiplication. If you don't accept the proposed correction, then that will result in your contract being non-compliant. Claiming preference score without submitting acceptable verification certificate. If no certificate is submitted, you will not be given the preference scores. You can't just claim to be a level 1. We actually need to see the proof, and then you will be given the points for that. A failure to fill and sign all returnable forms. I think that's just going back to what I said earlier. There's no part of a tender document that you don't need to fill in. The whole document needs to be filled in and signed. And just keep going back to the clarification presentation, because it really is very complete and a good guide on how to fill in the document. And tenderers do not list all items listed on the contract data. If you look at the CPG plan, what the CPG plan is it's a contract's participation goals. Rail Refurb, according to its shareholding, has to subcontract 50% of the project value to local companies, local SMMEs. This is a requirement from Sunroll, and should we not achieve that, we will be heavily penalized, but we have every intention of achieving it, and we're sure we can. So the first step of this process is to set up a CPG plan, which is then submitted to Sunroll and the PLCs for approval. We've moved past that, and that's all in place. For CRDB 1s and 2s, a minimum of 10% of the contract value will be advertised for the target areas. The target areas are Dr. J.S. Maroka, Tembisile Havi, Victor Khanye, and Amalahleni local municipalities. The total RAND value that will be subcontracted to level 1s and 2s is 8,030,052 Rand, which constitutes 11.5% of the overall contract value. For CRDBs 3Cs and 4Cs, a minimum of 20% of the contract value must be advertised for a maximum package duration of 26 months. The relevant target areas are within the Nkangala District Municipality and the Mpumalanga Province. A total RAND value of 26,881,660.56, or 38.5% of the project value, have been earmarked for CRDB 3CE and 4CE companies. The scope of works, what you can expect in the contract or in the tender documents for grade 1 and 2 CEs. We've got the repair and maintenance of inlets and outlet structures, which is to a large extent concrete works, the cleaning of prefabricated culverts, the cleaning of concrete drains and channels, edge build-up removal, concrete channel construction and maintenance of existing channels, which is again is concrete work, the collection of removal of debris and litter, and shoulder mow. What we've done with this package is we've tried to combine a good mix between items that don't require a large capital investment, because a level 1 and a 2 is just starting out, so we don't want the works that we put out to these packages to require large machinery or large cash injections. However, we do bear in mind that that company will want to move from a level 1 to a level 2 with the CRDB, and in order to do this would require to have done civil works, and that is why we included the repair and maintenance of inlet and outlet structures and concrete channel construction, as these are both CE items and will allow the company to move from a level 1 to a level 2 once completing the project.
Hi, Dominic. Before you move on the slide, can we just quickly also emphasize that the shoulder mow for CE1s and CE2s is only on the single-way carriageway, so it's only going to be on the R555.
I apologize, that's 100% correct. Just on the R555 and not on the N12, as a shoulder mode does require the cutting of a median, and the N12 is deemed to be too large a project for ones and twos.
Dominic, I also want to add something on the slide. What is very important also, ama grade ones nama grade twos, abantu abaqalayo kule business, angisho. So this collection and removal of debris and litter, ukubutha amaphepha eceleni komgwaqo, you don't need experience for that. Any one of you here, if you are not a registered business, ne, picking up paper on the side of the road worth 500,000. If you don't have a registered business, the previous slides where they were highlighting all those important things, if it's CSD yako or National Treasury registration yako is not in place, if you go and sort those things out, you can tender for picking up paper. You understand what I'm saying? So we have taken even the smallest of the smallest. To pick up paper is not a problem. You can do it. You don't need experience. You just need people. So, but that is not the price. The price is not just to say register your grade 1 so that uzokona ugutola 500,000 from this tender. The most important thing that we are doing with these grade 1s and 2s is we are not guaranteeing you that 500,000. We are guaranteeing you development. Maui grade 1, wathola umsebenzi la, you are guaranteed after 12 months to come out as a grade 2. Maui grade 2, wathola umsebenzi la, you are guaranteed to come out as a grade 3. It's not about the money, it's about development. How we have actually done that to develop any one of you here is we've said, if you are going to be picking up paper on the side of the road, mawuya ku CIDB, ufika ubatshela ukuthi mina na 500,000, I got it, it's reflecting in my financial statement. Can I please be graduated to a grade 2? Bayakujikisa CIDB, bakutshela ukuthi abubutha amaphepha wena you are not qualifying. At Sanral, on Sanral projects, if you pick up paper, you will be doing some drainage cleaning and some concrete prefabricated culverts. Sithethe umsebenzi wokubutha amaphepha, safaka kancane nomsebenzi we civil engineering, so that mawuya ka CIDB ubatshela ukuthi hayi na 500,000 yami, bakubuza ukuthi bowenzani for le 500,000, uthi bengingabutha amaphepha kuphela bengenza nama culvert nama drain nama what bayakunikeza promotion yakho ka grade 2. So I think it's very important for you to not just understand ukuthi grade 1 izobihola 500,000 izongena kanje. You need to understand that as a grade 1 you are guaranteed to be developed to a grade 2 and so forth and so forth. So singajahi imali asijaheni ukudevelopa sizosimela sima contract and then imali izozela like it. Continue my guy. Sorry.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Simlani. And I can attest for what Mr. Simlani has said is Rail Refurb actually started with Sunroll as a 1 CE and they've developed us through to a 7 CE. So it is a very good program. Rail Refurb started as a 1 CE with Sunroll and they've mentored us in the last 10 years up to a 7 CE. So it really is a good program. I've got first-hand knowledge of that. And then for the grades 3s and 4s, the scope of works will include pavement layer repairs, so that's your asphalt works, crack sealing, surface treatment of surface roads, your slurry seals, cleaning and maintenance of existing earth channels, so that's your major earthworks, fencing, shoulder repairs, again major earthworks, erection and repair of permanent road traffic signs, general erosion protection, gabion protection, and general mowing. Yeah, all these are pretty self-explanatory, and we expect that by the time a company's reached 3 and 4, that it has a good cash flow and resources available to it to complete these works. The training and mentoring, the pre-tender training, is a link for local SMMEs. We've had a good response to this link. 145 companies have registered on the link. We'll also be having a help desk, which will be at 5 Asbestos Street. If there's any questions regarding the document that you want to actually show someone and get feedback on, otherwise you can always just send an email to the email address in the tender document requesting advice. The tender clarification, that is a document or a presentation that will be emailed to you. It's very comprehensive in terms of how to fill in the document and will go a great deal towards assisting in filling in the document. And then tender training, which will be another presentation that will be emailed to everyone once we receive A1.1 forms. The post-award training is a more formalized training. It's a skills analysis. So the companies who are then awarded the contracts and appointed on site, we will then dig down into those companies and find out what training they're looking for, what training they require, or where they might be lacking in terms of the work that needs to be done. We'll then set up RFQs and organize formal training by certified and accredited training outlets to come to site and give that training. There will be a TGDC, or Targeted Group Development Coordinator, on site, and his sole responsibility will be the mentoring and the assistance with the subcontractors, from everything from submitting claims to making sure your safety file's up to date, to every aspect, sort of a mentor to explain to you Sunroll's way of doing things and align your business with the way Sunroll does things.
Okay, Dominic, if I can just get in there. Can you please just to reiterate for the audience where they can get the link? The link was published on the Highfield Chronicle on Friday the 3rd of September, and also it was also published in Sowetan, right? When was that published? So that
Thursday.
On Thursday. So how can you tell just article ya Chronicle or tell article ya Sowetan? Then you'll have a copy of the link. There is a QR code you can scan, or you can go to the website just above the advert. So please get yourself a copy of that. And happy, if else fails, there's also members of the PMT who are here. Jola Habuile Dominique. There's also members of the PLC that is sitting right next to Dominic, and also our PLO that that's our PLO for the area. So if how totally linky high sebets, I say believe kopa o tshware either of the PLC members ba ka kgona go thusa ha ba ne email ya lona ka phone number e re billing adverting is a sebets. So that is what I wanted just to clarify, and also just wanted to emphasize that once you're on the database, the information for skills training, it's sacred credited. Jolo ka ha buile Adams. This training is from a CE1 to a CE7. Which training you want to tender for a CE3, CE4 in the nearest future. Please ensure at least you don't have to be on the project to get the training. We'll also be training members of the community. We'll also be training members who have SMMEs within the community. I just wanted to emphasize that.
Thank you, Mr. Lu. The next slide, a clarification presentation. I am going on about the clarification presentation a lot, and the reason I am is because I see so many tenders that are disqualified because the document isn't filled in correctly, and a great deal of time and effort goes into filling in a document, and it's terrible to see one being thrown out for a small error or maybe a page that wasn't signed or something silly like that. So that's why I'm asking, please, when you get your tender documents, send the A1.1 form and then get the clarification presentation and go through that clarification presentation carefully with your document, and make sure as you're filling in your document you keep referring back to the clarification presentation and just making sure that everything that you're filling in is correct. Because like I said, a lot of effort goes into submitting a tender, and to miss out because you didn't sign something or didn't initial something, it's terrible. In terms of collecting the tender documents, they are available at no cost via email. If you email the email address on the advert, they will be sent through to you, or alternatively you can collect them from the office on a CD. When submitting the tender, as I said earlier, the submission is a physical submission where the tender that must be submitted in electronic format and in an envelope, a CD in an envelope placed in a box. But on that CD, it's very important to note that it must be submitted in first of all a scanned copy of the form of offer, which must be in PDF, a scanned copy of all returnable schedules and attachments, which must be in PDF, and a scanned copy of the pricing schedule, which must be in PDF. And then a second file must include a completed pricing schedule in Excel format. I would also like to recommend that, just as an alternative, because sometimes what happens is CDs can be corrupted for some reason or another, is that when you submit your CD, maybe also just include a flash disk or something with exactly the same information that's on the CD. It just kind of gives you a backup. I have had situations where we received CDs, put them into the computer, and then they haven't worked. And that's another small thing that is silly to fall down on. So just include the flash disk as a backup. Okay.
Sanbonan. Tom, I want to check something on the electronic submission, né? Because sometimes you think that you have sent an email, you have submitted, and you find that days later you realize that the file didn't go. Now, does the system generate an automatic response that says you have submitted? Or what should one do to be sure? I'm sure you've come across such. That's the first one. And I think the second one, Tom, is, and quite said by you, you are the product of the trainings, right? But many times you find that you see there's so many people here. I can tell you not half of them are going to be, technically if you look at the jobs, I'm sure not more than 10 SMMEs are going to participate, right? By whatever the case may be. Now, and maybe it's something we can think about. Those that fail, so you have done your shortlisting, you've adjudicated, but there's those people probably in the top 10 or so that would have failed. Sometimes people don't get feedback why I did not get the tender. You get my point? So I'm saying, at what point can we not look at that? Or if somebody would want to request and say, but why have I not gotten a tender and that Jabu has it? And I think I was probably much better prepared than him. I even priced lesser than him, you know. And that eliminates the perception that people get jobs because they are connected, you know. How do we give somebody who has failed to get a tender a proper response? Why X got it and you didn't get it? It's something we can think about if there's nothing like that. But I think it's something that we need to be able to do. Sure.
No, thank you very much. I think just to cover the first question, we were going to have a situation where we were going to upload the documents to a link for submission. In the end, I didn't want to go with that because of this exact reason, is that somebody submits and then 5 days later finds out that it didn't go through, or maybe the internet cut off or something. So the submission is going to be a physical submission. You have to actually submit a physical CD in an envelope into a box. Okay. So all I'm suggesting is, in that envelope you have to have a CD, but also maybe include just a little flash disk with the same files on it. It just doubles your chances. And then in terms of feedback, we are required, anybody who wants feedback on why they weren't successful, then we do have to provide that. Yeah. So if you price lower than somebody else and you see somebody else getting the tender who was at a higher value than you or higher price than you, you're more than welcome to send an email requesting answers, and we are obliged to give you answers on that. Cool.
Okay, so we're going to take questions after the second presentation. Let's go to the second presentation. Just hold your question or write it down so that we can go through the presentations and then you're going to come in. Before you go away, Dominic, I would like to request. I'm always thinking about umuntu oqalayo, grade 1 or grade 2. The grade 1s and the grade 2s, they might not have money to get the electronic version and go to an internet cafe where they must print a 500-page document and it's going to cost them money. So is there no consideration for the grade 1s to come and collect a physical document at the site office? At least because they don't have money to print. I don't know, maybe the question will come, but I'm just saying that we probably have to look out for the grade 1s at least, because grade 2 is a little bit established. The grade 3s and the 4s, those ones are big, those ones. But for the grade 1s, we must just consider having that option of hard copy stuff so that they don't incur a lot of costs while they are doing the tender. But we'll talk about it later. Okay, so we're going to take the second presentation and then quickly we're going to have a question and answer session. I think we're still okay with time. Which one is your presentation? Because I see there's two, so I'm not sure which one is which one. This one. Sure. There we go. Floor is yours. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Sanbonan. My name is Umtewa Kaskosana from a company called Lobungonyama. I'm a consultant. We are doing the section N12 Resil. I'm not alone, I'm with the team. We've got our pavement specialist, Peter Ngacho, Ngogunjalo, no assistant project leader, Carlos Ngwan. Because they have arrived. We are just still at the detailed design stage. So what we wanted to share with you today was, if we go to it, basically we wanted to share with you the project team, the project limits, the scope, stakeholders, the roles, CPG opportunities, and the program. Questions and clarity, as we've heard, will be taken right at the end. Okay, the project team. As I've said, Umteo Raskosana is the project leader, Oguyeno Pamwenu. The assistant project leader, Carlos Ngwaka, Mungapagamis and Carlos. Then we have our works contract engineer and our pavement specialist, Peter Ngacho. We will have a resident engineer, the health and safety specialist, and Amanye Ama supervision personnel. But that will come right at the time Masego Kona a contract. So our section starts from kilometer 0, so it's a 20-kilometer stretch. It starts from kilometer 0 at Delmas, Ipele, Petroport. So our project scope includes the assessment, which we've done. the detailed investigation, which includes traffic studies, pavement investigations, the lab testing. That has all been done. Tender documentation will come after a stage 6 owner right now. Then there will be a tender period evaluation. Then there will be a construction. Under a construction, we're looking at one of our key components will be a traffic accommodation. As you know, on the national roads, you do need to really take care of traffic. We'll have resurfacing, base patching, and crack sealing. So we will have asphalt overlay, guardrails repairs, road marking, bridge joints replacements, the training of our SMMEs. Dominic spoke about that. Naguiona a package to will have a training yama SMMEs. Then of course the quality control. So a project is estimated to be 12 months long, and a budget is yet to be confirmed because we're still doing a detailed design. Our stakeholders are called. We have Usandral as a client. Then we have Municipality, Victor Khanye. We have our consultants, Undlov Ngonyama, the PLC, the main contractor, the PLO, of course the RRM, and then there'll be our subcontractors. So what we are doing as a consultant, we are in the middle now of designing a resale option, and then we will cover the administration and the monitoring of the works. We will act as a secretariat to the PLC. So when we have these meetings in the PLC, we will take our minutes. We will assist with the procurement of local SMME. We'll also assist with the appointment of PLO, specific to a project here. Then a main contractor that is yet to be appointed will then do the site establishment, the sourcing of our subcontractors, the local labor, the actual construction, and the trading yama SMMEs in the labor. What will be of interest to most of business people would be what's in it for them. I suppose most of you guys are here to know what can you do, how can you benefit from this. Similar to what has been presented before me, we will also have some opportunities. I must state that the appointed main contractor is always a CPG plan, like they've done about Dominic. He present the PLC, he accepts the PLC. Then there's kuba nama packages as of formulate. So part of what can be done by local subcontractors will be road marking, pre-marking ya corner, guardrail repairs, traffic accommodation, site security, diesel supply, some plant hire. I'm saying some because we are doing a resale, so it's specialized plant, but the main contractor will let us know which plant as a source locally. We'll do concrete capping and channeling, and then izindezama supply like mobile toilets izinto ezingakwazi kwenzeka locally, but again I'll stress the part yokuthi these are possible items anga subcontractor, but the main contractor will come up with the CPG plan. In terms of a program, we left ama dates engafakiwe lapha because akukonfenyiwe on exact dates, but we are anticipating ukuthi towards the end of the year we'll go out to tender, appoint the contractor possibly early next year, and like I said, we estimate the project to be 12 months. So that will be my short presentation. Thank you.
So the next presentation is for Petroport Ogies. So it's probably going to be similar. You've got 5 minutes, or even less. So I think everything that she's going to be presenting is similar to what has been presented just now. It's just a matter of her saying what is different from the other one, and then we can take a question and answer session. There's a mic next.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Furupero Rururi. I'm a project manager from Sanral. So I'll be very quick on this section because the scope of work is the same as what Umte presented. So this section is from Petroport, kilometer 20, to Ogies, kilometer 42.2. So this section, it follows under 2 municipality. So the first section is in Victor Khanye, and the other section is in Emalahleni. So the Victor Khanye section is from kilometer 20 to kilometer 33.9. So that's about 13.8 kilometers. So that follows under Victor Khanye. I think that's the only thing. Okay, and another thing, the consultant which is appointed, it's Endocon Ubuntu Mpumalanga. Unfortunately, they are not here today. And another different, it's the construction period. So the section that Te was presenting, the one from Delmas to Petroport, it will be about 12 months. But there was a section from Petroport to Ogies, it will be about 15 months. So that's the only difference. Otherwise, everything else, it's the same. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Fulu. Okay. Sesikhathi manje lapho khona kufuna start ama questions if there is clarity. And I think let me just look at my time now. Okay, we've still got time. I'm going to take a round of, say, 5 questions. If you can just raise your hands up, and then you will then ask your question, and hopefully the presenters will be able to address. Baba, you are number 1, you are number 2, you are number 3, you are number 4, my leader, and you are number 5, my leader. So we will take this around, take all the questions, get them to be responded to. If there are then other questions, we can then take it from there. I think a lot of questions are going to be yours, so you can take the mic already. Go ahead, my leader. Please just introduce yourself and the business that you represent, and then you can ask your question, please. Thank you.
Hello.
Okay, Sanboran. Okay, igama lami nguThemba Ndlovu, and I think that's 25 points from Indlovu Ngwenyama. I'm representing a company called Emandleni Amakhulu. We are doing mechanical engineering. So I see on your presentation, you included massive civil engineering and other stuff. So, which is a good thing to people who are interested in building roads and to be on construction. But my question lies on the orchestration of what you are going to do. Basically, you will be needing fleets there. You'll be needing lubrications, you'll be needing diesel, which is a part of mechanical engineering. So my question is, as an engineering company, how do we benefit on this particular project on saying, yes, as an engineering company, we've got fleets that need to be maintained, we've got fleets that need to be looked after, and I see no one has ever touched that particular aspect on saying who is going to maintain the fleets. Because as an engineering company, I know we are facing a challenge whereby those particular jobs have been given to specific white people who are specializing on mechanic. So we are pleading as a local company to be also included in the particular maybe tender or whatever that you advertising, to also consider that saying there is an engineering company which we're going to be needing on the maintenance of the fleets. You understand? So I don't know how you're gonna do it, but can we please also consider that there is an engineering company, and fortunately, there is our job there. I mean, you'll be needing blades to Khulindlela, you understand? You'll be cutting the street with machines, and we should maintain those particular machines, you understand? So can you please consider that? Take it as a tender or RFQ or whatever. So please, can you please consider also mechanical engineering? Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sipos Milane. I am from Zanono Trading Enterprise. I wanted to know, I have got 3 questions for you, sir. As grade ones, I want to know how safe are we? As grade one, there are no intimidation when it comes to verification of the companies, and who's responsible? Those companies are indeed from Delmas. And how are we going to benefit as grade ones? And I think you as a company, I think there are no political influences when it comes to verification teams. Thank you.
Yeah. Morning, everybody. My name is Tebogo Msiza. I've got 2 questions for you, Mr. Dominic. Then I've got 1 question for the mayor, but I'll start at the mayor. Mr. Mayor, I remember last year Sandral came here. You said that there was a request from the royal houses around Victor Khanye that the Sandral should come and hold a specific meeting with the royal house. So I want a feedback on that. My second question is from Dominic. Dominic, can you please go back to your slide where you've got opportunities for grade 3 and grade 4? Yeah, I've got an advert here where you've advertised for subcontracting level 3 and level 4 and CITP for level 1. Here you've got 2, 4, 6, 7 opportunities. And for for subcontracting level 3 and level 4, you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, I think, if I'm not mistaken. How many are there? 2. You've got 10 opportunities. How many there are there? 10.
So, my leader, sorry. If I understand you correctly, you want to ask how many different opportunities have been advertised for the different grades, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4.
Yes.
Is that
and-
the question?
Yeah, that is the question, and I want to raise something here. In fact, it's a proposal, actually. Yeah, in say TP grade 3 and grade 4, you've got 10 opportunities, and some of the opportunities, it's a request. Can you please maybe like your general moving, fencing, shoulder repair and electric and repair of permanent road traffic sign. Can you please maybe those opportunities, you can direct them to level 1 CITP? It's a request.
Okay, thank you. I think you will be able to cover the question in terms of why some of the work cannot be done by the smaller grades when you answer the question. So there's two things that I would like you to address actually when you answer the question, because I didn't see it also in the presentation. How many packages in total and how many per grade? And then the second thing that I didn't see in the presentation, obviously, I heard you already saying that it was advertised last Friday. So what I would also just want to understand, have all the packages been advertised? When is the clarification meeting? When are these tenders actually going to close? Because I was expecting that from the presentation as well, but I didn't see it. So I think we've noted your question. He is going to respond to that question. Is there another question?
Yes, just last question. I want to check there by Mr. Tonomic. Since you've been appointed, do you use yellow equipment? Do you have them on site? Because they are small businesses. We have your tipper trucks, your TLP, and water pipes, etc. Yeah, thank you.
Kialabo, Kiliru Medi Sharap, Lula Letabo Matladi, or representative Tonana Trading, Nanegnali Puzo and Abafo. Good Lomola slides Sengola CID working grade 1 or plus 1 to Honoriala 2. So Kisatse Ngori, Anna, Logo Honor or grade 1. Mhlamu o join le grade 4 le yona still le buletse na ne ke khopela go tsa so fela. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Dennis Ndala. I'm representing Job Dennis Trading, which is a small company. The question that I wanted to ask, because here in Telemas we are suckered by this problem of credit dealership, and most of the things that they do, we know very well that they will try to engage with you to say, no, take this company, don't take this company, in order for them to benefit at their own interest. When they are busy pushing their own interest and they are benefiting 30% to that person that is going to be busy at the same time that they've said, take that company to work with. Our companies are too small. As I'm representing my own company, Job Dennis Trading, well, I don't have an experience. The reason why I don't have an experience, I've succumbed by many problems within this municipality that we are saying you're working with at Sandra. Because when we are supposed to raise these issues right now, when we are speaking about, we were served with a court interdict to raise those issues, these genuine issues. They don't allow us to get into business because they are greedy. We know it very well, Akira. But they're killing people because of money. So I want to ask direct questions from you, Mr. Dominic, that will you please help us as a small businesses to not be infiltrated into politics. When it comes to politics, stay out into politics, because you know it very well that they will come to your home and visiting you and tell you what to do. And what you should be doing is to work us with very square. I'm like, work us genuine. Because these opportunities that they have seen, many of them, they can be given to grade 1. Because these grade ones, as my brother has said, like just like, for those examples, when it comes to TLP, there are those ones that we have TLPs. in order for you to supply diesel, I don't know what is needed for you to supply diesel, but give most of the opportunities, the great ones, because some of us, we need those opportunities and that experience that you do got at Central. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for the question, for the first round of questions. There were a couple of questions for you, Dominic. There was maybe one for Karabo, there was maybe one for me, and there was one for the mayor. I think we're going to start with asking the mayor to just answer that one question about feedback, and then I'm going to answer because I've also got one, and then maybe Karabo, and then you can sort out the rest of the questions. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Greetings to yourselves from all these companies that are here in Sanral. Sanbanan. Now, what I'm thinking, at the end of the thing, we'll sum up. I think the question, it's a direct question, which us and the House of Traditional Leaders are always in talks. But the time that Sanral was here, we have said that as a municipality, just consulting with Sanral to say, what is it that is happening there? The people of Victor Khanye must then participate. But then we said, every person of Victor Khanye who has an interest in participating in the work that is being given or work that is being done by Sanral, they will participate. Participate where there will be adverts, not issues that will just say this one must there, this one must, it will be adverts. So we have said to traditional leaders, if let's say they have companies, they will participate like any other person in terms of tendering. But then in terms of social responsibilities, Sanral is having programs, which programs that the traditional leaders will make proposition to Sanral. I think it's fine.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. But to follow up, I think the different developments or trainings that have actually been listed here are part of those programs. And obviously, what Sanral does through USIS Melba's department is if there is necessity for further engagements to unpack some of these things to traditional authorities or other stakeholders, Sanral is willing to actually do that as well. So with regards to the question that you asked, normally when we have this kind of information session where we are presenting our work package or a scope of work, so with grade 1s azoba enzani, grade 2s azoba enzani, 3s and 4s and so forth. What we normally do as Sanral, we normally, in fact, on most of my projects within Gertsibande district municipality, because I think I personally have maybe 6 projects. Nginama projects standard in Dipaliseng, Mkondo, False Crust, Emelo. What we normally do when we do this kind of session for Ninebosoma business is we don't just bring our contractors and our consultants. Sileta ECIDP as well. Bazokona nabukuba neslot se presentation la, ban explainelo uguti uregister kanjani with CIDP, and then how do you correspond with them, and that is where they give a lot of details to say, if you are a grade 1, this is how you can maneuver in the space in terms of grade 1, ne grade 1, iyakhona ukwenza umsebenzi we grade 2. And the other thing is, when we are looking for the main contractor, asithi nje sifuna main contractor ne asakhuluma ngama small grades. Situ Dominic manje is a grade 7. So when we did the appointment for a grade 7, you as a grade 3 here, you could partner a grade 6 for lo msebenzi waka Dominic. So each joint venture being aphuma na live Victor Khanye for that kind of work. Bazo advertiser abate baplana ngo November. Let's say their project ifuna a 8 CE. Siyaye I can't give you all the details in terms of what CITP allows. CITP la as a presenter now. But what we know for a fact is, if we are looking for a main contractor, it doesn't mean Maui grade 3. So there is an opportunity for you to, if I recall from the presentations, CITP ET, if the requirement is a 8 CE, one grade lower, which is a 7 CE, can partner with any other grade to join venture for that opportunity. So na small grades, labo 1+1 can do for a job for 2. Mangabe ni uguna grade 2. Ne grade 1, if una kwenza umsebenzi we grade 3. There are those things, but to get 100% knowledge, hamba ku CITP website babu. I'm just giving it to you because bukhona la kuma tender document wetu, but nathi sikuthatha ku CITP because CITP is actually regulating the industry. So kuze kuthi thina siSanral sifake la kule document yethu, we take exactly what CITP says, this is the law, then we say we are going to follow the law as Sanral as well. So to get further, you need to actually be in touch with CITP so that you can be able to be clear ukuthi mina mangi grade 3 ngingapartner abantu ukuthi ngithole umsebenzi omkhulu, or mangi grade 1 ngingapartner abantu ukuthi ngithole umsebenzi omkhudlwa kunalo wami. I hope I've answered you, Baba. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am, you can go.
Thank you, But Akwanele. And I also just wanted to re-emphasize the CIBD SARS. Sunroad Transformation Unit will be doing an outreach program to come to be announced. So please make sure that you are registered on the database. Her transformation unit itla emalefeni le Victor Khanye. Itotla le bona SARS, itotla le bona lona CIBD, to ensure that by the time whether the reseal ha itla, that you are compliant, your documentation is compliant, and that you are ready. And also I wanted to emphasize the package. The package is D10. There's 10 packages, and of those 10 packages, they're split between Victor Khanye, Emalasheni, Tembisile Hanle, Dr. JS. Jala hana le bontitse Dominique hane re qala, hana le section 2 le section 3 R573. Ya moloto, ha qeta be re thausa hape re tla monana, re tla mona Victor Khanye le Emalasheni. So there's 10 packages, there's 6 packages for CIBD 1s and 2s. And then after 6, there's 4 for 3s and 4. Like ya utlwahala. So get 3 and 4, and the 3 and 4 nana is going to be for the remaining duration of the project. I think it's 24 months, right? 26 months. So the CIBD 3s and 4s will be employed for 26 months. And then the CE1s and CE2s, they'll be employed for 12 months. For 12 months. So the 12 months high fella this time next year, another rollout, yeah, CE1s and CE2s, it also happy. So there's going to be 3 coming out now. And so there'll be 3 CE1s and CE2s, and the 2 CE4s and CE3s. That's what I know for the duration of the project, but CE1s and CE2s will end after 14 months. And then the next 14 months will trigger the next set of CE1s and CE2s. I wanted to emphasize about the process a CPG plan. A CPG plan is a contract participation goal. Elore National Treasury that every single project ya Sanral tlamile esebetsane mmoho le di SMEs. So in this project, you'll find different projects tsa Sanral. They will range between 30% to 70%. Jelo ka ha Dominique a buile ne, in this project the RRM it's 50%. So 50% of the contract value, 80 million with VAT, already needs to go to SMMEs between CE1 and CE4. So ya utlwahala hore on this project, ho tla bona le bongata ya di CE1s, CE2s, CE3s, CE4s. So ke batla tla potsong ya ntate ka pele ka mona na hare intimidation. Intimidation ha iso ha no bana le ntho e loreng e tlo tla be e tlwaelile projecting enana. Because wa utlwa bongata e tla be le CE1s, CE2s, CE3s, CE4s. Ya utlwisisa hore ke ntho e tsahalang hangata hore batho ba kgone ba intimidated ya hetsahala mara jwalo ka Dominique a buile, you will have a coordinator who will be there with you every step of the way to ensure that dintho tse ka ba re di sitisa batho ba bangata in the project. Wena as an up and coming Sinto CIBD 1s and 2s, I know tribula taba eno. So we wanted to emphasize the fact that you will have support. The essence of an RRM project is to upskill, is to develop. So you'll find that as you go higher in your career plan, from CIBD 1 to CIBD 7, support it will be minimal because you would have moved through the necessary steps to get you there. By the time RRM, maybe you try reseal, now try reseal, maybe try rehabilitation or to the improvement project. Those are the different types of projects in Sandro. But we understand how the project haditwani, maemo ha atwani. So most of the time the RRM projects are that stepping stone to get you to the next place where you would want to be ideally. And so I think I've mentioned quite a few. I'm not sure where you would like to unpack, Dominic.
Are you finished?
Let's get this through. Okay, let's do that. And also, yes, I just wanted to just one more thing about the CPG plan. CPG plan in January. And for us to create a CPG plan, there was a market analysis. And on that market analysis, it was divided into 2 phases. Market analysis, CIBD, we go into the area and see how many CIBDs, 1, 2, 3 up until the whole entire area, how many people do we have? And so if you are registered on the CSD, if you are registered on CIBD, because all that information is what guides the CPG plan. Remember, CPG planning is what the contractor needs to fulfill. So if 50% highway fulfiller, then he'll get his bonus. If he doesn't, he'll get his penalties. So now we just had to monitor as the PMT as well as the PLC. They'll continue to monitor that. And also I wanted to add to the verification process. Verification process is our PLOs and it's our PLC members. So our PLC members okay. So that will be done by the PLC and the PLO members as well.
Actually, to add on that, when we were in this slide and I was telling you that 60 points you get just by being local. I normally call it a passport because those 60 points mkulu, those 60 points. Actually, if you don't get that 60 points, chances are you won't make it. So, what I wanted to say is, the passport to get that 60 points is the PLC. So, Mr. Motaung's committee, as Abosoma business balaikaya, you must be acquainted to the PLC. You must know who is representing you in this PLC. They do not appoint as a PLC. They do not appoint. That is the bottom line. Their job as a PLC is to assist us when we do the evaluation so that a local business can be able to claim its passport. Without that passport, you are going nowhere. So we as Sandral or the main contractor, we don't know all the businesses. That is why we have a structure like a PLC. So that the PLC, during evaluation, they can come and verify all these 60 points. If the PLC says, no, le business lesiyaz, I see here like Victor Khanye, baya front ngale address yabo, or whatever the case might be. Or listen here, Bosoma business. I know this, I've got experience in this. Kuno muntu wa live Victor Khanye. Wasuka kudala live Victor Khanye wayosihlale le Jos une business le Jos iyasebenza. Maseke vukuthi kunama opportunity la. I business iyabuya iba ya live Victor Khanye. It is the PLC that will actually ensure that a business like that is actually awarded. So we don't want to get into the PLC issues and how are they going to make sure, but that is the process that we follow. There is no one here that is going to say someone must be issued this or that. We follow the process of actually validation. We call it a validation process of all the localities. Good tender document. what they ask you to do is please submit your proof of locality. Whether incwadi ephuma ku chief or ebukhosini, whether incwadi ephuma kamasipala eshow ukuthi you are registered and whatever. That is what we will validate as part of your submissions in the tender. You want to say something, Bob? Sanitizer lana sikushaya kancane sanitizer.
Shabab. Yeah. Well, yeah, let's clarify just a few things, because if you leave them hanging, they might cause problems. Now, how you do a verification? You do a verification, that's why there's Menier there who's not a politician, who is a PLO for Victor Khanye. The only form of verification that they are to do is on the basis of the CIPC registered address. And that address will not be later than the publication of the tender itself, because people go and change addresses. But for the sake of Victor Khanye, Dom and the team, I've got a better proposal, that when everybody else has responded and the verification has been done, I would want the list to be publicized. It's going to be very simple. You see, and why I'm saying this is because this thing of creating perception, you see, somebody has been a business person for the past 5 years. There's no workman's compensation, there's no compliance, he makes noise, right? Now, there's always perceptions of corruption and wrongdoing. If it means that the adjudication must sit here and it must be live, so be it. So that people can, because these perceptions, they've got the wrong potential of causing instability. You get my point? So I'm saying that list will be publicized. So we can agree, immediately when you are done, verification is done, it's publicized there. If somebody is said not to have been local, then they can come and be able to say something around that, right? I think there's the last issue, Chair, quickly. The people who makes the loudest noise about local, you must go and look at their companies. They don't employ local people themselves. Now, what we have said as the PLC is simple. In as much as grade 3s and 4s and whatever, it is also required of them to employ local people and utilize, if a grade 7, for instance, is appointed, they will need a grade 1, isn't it, to do some work. They must also subcontract to local people, and that process must be verified. But labanta bazo appoint, kumele basho ukuthi what transparent process are they following? Because they make noise here, rail refurb become transparent. But when it's them who get appointed, they go to Kwacha and Tembisa and bring their relatives. Now when you get appointed, you must equally want to see you, like everybody else is doing it. Be transparent. And I think that's our position as the PLC. Thank you.
Thank you, my leader. I can share it. There's still a question that you is there still a question that you do not ask?
Sorry. I think I just wanted to clear up one thing regarding the amount of packages. If you look at the scope of works here, I'll be very quick, sorry. This isn't separate packages. So the work package for 1 and 2 CE will include the repair and maintenance. It'll include all those items. So each of those isn't a separate item. So each package for a grade 1 and a 2 will include all those items, and each package for a grade and a 3 and a 4 will include all those items. Those aren't separate items. Those are items within one package. Just wanted to confirm that.
I think just one thing. Where is it, the timelines? It was advertised on Friday. What publications were used? And then when is the briefing? Where is the briefing? When are they closing? And where is the submission address?
Okay, so on Thursday it was published, the advert was published in the Sowetan. On Friday it was published in the Highveld Chronicle. At any point now, you email the address on the advert and we will send the tender documents via email. If you wish to pick up the tender documents, they're available at 5 Asbestos Street in Amalahleni. 5 Asbestos Street, Amalahleni. The clarification meeting, because we designed the process while we were still under COVID level 4 lockdown, The clarification meeting is not going to be a physical clarification meeting. As soon as you email us the A1.1 forms, we will email back a clarification presentation that's been pre-recorded. So I feel that that's even better than a physical clarification meeting because you can keep it with you, and as you're doing your tender, you can keep referring back to the clarification meeting. So anybody who sends through an A1.1 form will be emailed a clarification meeting or clarification presentation, and then the tenders close on the 27th of September and at 11 o'clock, and they must be put into a box at 5 Asbestos Street.
Colleagues, it's now 12 o'clock. I want to take another round of 3 questions. I'm going to take 3 only.
I think on that question, all interaction that we have is through the PLC. So if you do have items or various services that you think will fit with the work that we do, if you wouldn't mind approaching the PLO and the PLC and maybe giving them your business card or something, and then they can relay that information to me. All interaction I have is through the PLC.
To answer your question further, Dominic, do we have a existing database of all SMMEs and suppliers within Victor Khanye?
We don't.
We don't have a database.
Well, we've got a database for the subcontracting, for CE contractors, but we don't have a database for every single business in Victor.
I would suggest, and this is something that you might possibly want to go and discuss in the PLC first before you do it. I would suggest that the database does not include CEs only. It includes suppliers because I saw on the, I know it's too early. They will look for mobile toilets. They will look for diesel suppliers. Those have got nothing to do with engineering. Just like the mechanical guy that might want to fix some of the fleets. So I would suggest that the database be opened up for suppliers as well, so that when we actually get to that project, we have a good idea of how many companies like his company, how many companies are for diesel suppliers. Catering, we've got so many meetings in this area. How are you going to provide catering for that if you don't know who the black-owned companies for catering are? So for me, the database must include catering companies as well, so that when you have to now look for someone, you don't find yourself in Witbank trying to cater for Delmas type of thing. But I think it's something that you can be discussed in a PLC. I would say, Baba, a company yakufuna siyazi at all times. Ibe good database, lama database that we keep in these projects, because masakfuneka izinto kulama project lawo, and we've got suppliers. We then know how to actually take out the tender. Otherwise, it's not like just because you are the only person there, masakufika le opportunity sizofonela sikutshela ukuthi was isazophuma ngetender. It's just that when we know that the suppliers actually exist within Delmas area, then it's easy for us to say, no, not diesel, ipumela, ingabi yama grade 3s, nama grade 4s. Because the moment you take work to a grade 4, it means you are actually opening it up from a district point of view. So I think you are welcome to actually participate in our tenders, not just CE, civil engineering companies, but all suppliers and other engineering companies should be in our database as well. You want to add on?
Just one. I think what is fair to the request put by Temba. Now it's a unique service. It will be wrong for us to create an impression that when they are in the database, we might even look at them, right? My suggestion is simple, and this is what we have said in the PLC. Somebody who provides a unique service does not have to wait for a tender. They put a proposal request letter directly to the contractor. In this instance, it's Dominic. Because sometimes people put proposal and sometimes it's impossible what they want, right? But sometimes it makes sense. I mean, it's saying engineering lubricants, which is what you use. So there's nothing that stops them from putting a proposal to you. But you have at least 30 days to respond to them. Now, when you have not responded to them within 30 days, they can then say CLO, but we have put a proposal there, we have not been responded to, right? And I think that is the process that we are agreeing on. Right, so it's not going to be, it's not difficult. It's unique, doesn't have to go in competition.
including abantu abayenza training. If you have a company that actually conducts SAQA accredited training, we want to know, because Dominic is going to be doing training on his contract. The resale contracts are going to be doing training. As funukulanda abantu baseJozi bazoyenza training la, kanta khona ama company lana angayenza le training. The problem is, right now we are kind of like incapacitated because we don't know who's who. But as long as you come out and you do what the PLC is proposing, or you register on our databases, then we have an idea of who is available and who is not available, so that we can be able to deal with it. Okay, so I said I'm taking 3 questions and then say Vala. Number 1, whoever. I'm only taking 3, guys, please. So it must be a very important question. If it can wait, or if you can discuss it outside with some of us, please don't take up the opportunity. So number 1 is you, Baba. Number 2, whoever, Baba. Yakbona lapo. Number 2. The last one will go to you, my leader. And that's it. Then for further inquiries, they have a site office locally. Is that correct? And the PLO is also here to be able to assist with whatever other inquiries you might have. I go to invalela ngaphandle. Angithi ngo 1 o'clock kufuna siyowenza the same thing esiyenzelana namuhla kwenye hola lapha extension 3. So yiso nje lesikhathi sethu. Number 1, number 2, number 3, in that order. Come in, my leader.
Okay, Sandy Lefeni from Prestige Resources. You've touched base of some of the things that I wanted to ask, but I think it is important to also emphasize on your main advertising platforms, so that as SMEs we know where actually to look for, where to go to whenever we want to see advertisements from Sandra. If you can just specify as to 3 or 4 main advertising platforms that you utilize, instead of like saying that one was there, that one was there. If you can give us like a direct platform where we can go to. And the second one is actually a request. I'm not sure, would it be possible to make available a copy of all these presentations? Because as I'm standing here, I tried to take notes of some of the things that were being mentioned, but the presentations were very fast, and I think as SMEs would really appreciate if the copies of the presentation would be made available. And then there's something that was actually mentioned when we started here. You know, as small businesses, we've trained ourselves to be very disciplined when it comes to disappointments. We actually grow when we are disappointed. That's how we grow as small businesses. But I think what is also important is what was mentioned. It is very important for all these institutions to come back to each and every company. Just highlight why each company was not shortlisted or was not given the opportunity to run for the tender, because it assists when going back to the drawing board to say, okay, I've done the form, I've applied, but my returnable documents were not sufficient. So that's what I'm also requesting. If you can just go back to what Mr. Mtao asked, as to say, what is it that you are going to do to ensure that whoever that submitted and was not shortlisted is given the feedback to say, this is X, Y, Z, why you were not shortlisted. Thank you.
Let's just address the question, then we're going to go to number 2. Go on.
I think in terms of advertising, it's just the tender document requires that we advertise in local newspapers. So it's not possible for us to just choose 1 or 2 publications. I mean, the whole point of the Sunroll tendering process is that you're targeting companies in a local area. So you don't want to throw the net too wide. You want to make it specific to those areas. If you go to the Sunroll web page, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of information regarding upcoming projects, and then you do get companies like online tenders and a couple others which consolidate tenders into one place, and I think a subscription there of 250 Rand a month, and you can get every tender in South Africa. I don't know if that answers the question.
I think to add on the other question that you asked, which was actually a recommendation, the PLC will hold the main contractor accountable to be transparent to everybody else, so that if you have not succeeded, you want to know what to do better for the next round of tenderers. So I think PLC here is make it a show. Dominic, we has publish lezinto so that each and every one of you knows where you went wrong and where you must actually improve. There were 3 men. I can't remember the third one. Have we covered everything that you've asked, sir? Okay, so maybe we'll figure late. *134 *38848 hash. If you have done the registration at the gate, the attendance register yalo mhlangano lo namuhla. It normally becomes available after about 3-4 days. So after 3-4 days, we have the entire database of who was here, and then through the main contractor and the PLO, we will be able to send all the presentations that were presented here today. So *134 *38848 hash. Bazokubuza ama question lapha, bakubuze ne email address negama lakho and all those kind of things. The attendance register ya namhlanje lesizokhona ukukusendela information. Question number 2. Please be quick and brief. If it has been asked, don't ask it again. Ngicela nimnikeze mic.
Good day, everyone. My name is Isaac Ngoma from Emandla Namakulo. My question, Chief, is directed to you, Mr. Sandra. You guys, how do you make sure, how do you ensure with our PLC in terms of transparency? Because we as young people here in Telmas, we are suffering with our great leaders. As you can see, the house is empty, and we've got a lot of young people who doing business, but now they even given up in their business because we are suffering with transparency. So how do we ensure us in terms of evaluating or appointee or even oversee this PLC? Because in Telmas we are suffering. This house is empty, but we have a lot of companies here. They didn't even come because they don't have hope anymore with our leaders. Thank you.
It's politicians normally say it's a very good question. I hate it when someone says it's a very good question because it's just a question. My leader, you must appreciate, and obviously you don't have all the background. This is a different way of Sandral doing business. Sandral in the past, before our current CEO, Okalengo 2016, besinganaso le strategy les besinganawo ama PLC besingeze emiphakathini siusandral sihleli eNorthern Region office ePitori. We would appoint a main contractor from Pretoria, and then we would say to him, listen, the road is the N12 there by Delmas there. You will do, we give him a document, we say, here is Sandral's specification. We want the road to be kept in this order. Finish and clear. The main contractor would come from wherever he's coming. He would go and pick his friends in Bloemfontein, Cape Town, and come and make them do the road here. We as Sandral, we realized it's not working because the people of Delmas don't get the opportunity when we just leave the main contractors to do their thing. We then said, as Sandral, we will come to the local, not the main contractor. Sandral will come here, explain to you what the opportunities are. When we appoint him, we give him the process. Part of our process now, or our procedures, is we must come to a local municipality. We must engage with the local municipality to understand who the stakeholders that are there within the, more especially business, because the stakeholders are the business people. What we then do is we form this structure that is called a project liaising committee. It is to disseminate information about the project so that the entire youth or whoever is not here can be aware of the projects and the opportunities in those projects. I'm not going to stand here and lie to you and say there's no corruption or there's nothing like this that is happening. We try by all means to make sure that we force them to follow tendering processes are government. So far, if there is corruption, we have fraudulent hotlines where it must be reported. I'm not talking about appointing a main contractor. I'm talking about appointing a subcontractor. I'm talking about a subcontractor appointing local labor. If there is any fraudulent or suspect of corruption there, it needs to be reported at Sandral so that Sandral can deal with it directly. So a project manager, if kuthiwa nina ne PLC nale project manager yenu siyanazi ninikeza ama opportunity to a certain section here, that project manager and that main contractor must be reported to Sandral for investigation. It's not an easy thing to say. A part of the rules are, if you are a PLC member, you are not allowed to tender. You don't award actually as a PLC member. But there's a lot of things that happen, my brother. I don't want to lie to you. So what we are saying is, sisuka kudela sizama ukwenza ama opportunity ukuthi afike la. I-PLC iyo ekufanele isize ukuthi senze ukuthi lama opportunity afike. I-PLC mase ithatha lama opportunity wenu iwamikisa somewhere else or i-appointa abomama wayo nabazala bayo. It is a common problem in South Africa. Silambe sodwa la kudla a certain few and the rest are being left to die. It's a problem that we all know in South Africa. It's not something that Sandral in one day can just stop. But we are trying to put processes, my brother. A PLC is a process that we have actually tried to put so that for ama locality sikhona verify at least. If fraud nabo corruption nazo zonke lezi zinto lezo, they might try to sneak around, but it's not everybody that succeeds with corruption at Sandral. That's why we were not at Zondo Commission. That is all that I can leave you with. I don't want to say asi, but I'm just saying that we try to deal with all these things so that our reputation as a state-owned entity is not in the newspapers every day. And you will appreciate ukuthi iSandral ayivela vele ngalezi zinto lezi. But la emphakathini, I promise you now, umuntu ongayazi iSandral uzodala le project manager le or lama consultant le azonikeza abangani bayo ama-tender. That's perception. We are trying to deal with it because after 5 years we will probably have a different conversation where I will say, give me how many cases of corruption here have actually happened. Do you think Sandral is corrupt here or whatever? We'll have a different story. It's a long story, my brother, but it's a process that we have. The PLC is not supposed to be doing what some end up doing or what they are not supposed to do. They have clear guidelines. They are supposed to assist us and the main contractors in getting you, the people from here, to participate in the project. You as the community also, you need to call them to order to say, no, Pelawena, you can't be tendering there, you need to be representing us. So that's how it goes, but we can have a long discussion. I'm sorry if I didn't answer directly. I was just giving you the situation. There's never going to be corruption here. We try by all means to put policies and procedures in place to actually avoid those kind of things. There was a last question. Yes, Baba, can you please actually give us that question?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Tsepo from Tsekato Group. The first question is around companies which are having a grading that is higher than the gradings that you've presented here. Can they tender for the opportunities? Secondly, the consulting engineer, I stand to be corrected, he indicated that the process of appointing the main contractor is still in progress. Now my question is, Sandral is here presenting the strategy, which is highly appreciated, to integrate SMMEs into these opportunities. The contractor is not here. The commitments which are made by Sandral to us, how are you going to make sure that they are enforced on whosoever becomes the main contractor? Secondly, an issue of subcontractors, I believe that these are opportunities for subcontractors, but there's questions which are raised from the floor, an indication that one will bring his cousin or a cousin from wherever when opportunities of this nature begins to arise. Now, are we saying we are affording small SMMEs as subcontractors, but also there's a responsibility to them to subcontract part of what has been subcontracted to them? Let us find a clarity on that. The other question on the issue of the 10 packages, are all the 10 packages that have been presented here covering the Delmas to Petroport and Petroport to Ogies only? Or if we can be clarified that out of the 10, because I believe that the closest community to Delmas, Petroport, that will be at the close proximity of this SMMEs who are here. So let us find clarity there if all those 10 packages are mainly for the 2, or they also include the other projects that you've mentioned. The other thing is that the political social space is not healthy, and that's what we've been emphasizing over time. But one thing that becomes a problem is an issue of procurement. You see, as Sanral, you are a big entity, and we'll understand your procurement governance. But the contractor who is going to be appointed, we don't know about them. And one of the roles that you've indicated on your presentation is that the roles of the main contractor is to source subcontractors. Now, how do we get assurance? Because that's where the space becomes available for the perception that is created by people. And sometimes it's not only a perception, but it's our reality as local businesses and small businesses. To say once main contractors who are not proper in terms of procurement governance, they are easily influenced by stakeholders who find themselves in the space. So we need to be given an assurance to say what is the procurement governance of that particular contractor who's going to be sourcing this service. And I'd want to also advise that the issue that you are indicating, the PLC, the PLOs, and you just mentioned now that one of the key issues of the PLC is to disseminate information. At no given time, I've seen an advert, unless they are not resourced to do so, an advert that comes from the PLC giving us progress as local SMMEs to say this is the status quo of the project. But we have to wait for Sandra. You came first time, you are coming again. We were told about the PLC, we are told about the PLO. How much are they resourced so that we can start engaging with them and they can give us information that is accurate? And what are the models if that is happening? What are the models and places which are in place, a strategy for this SMMEs to be able to access that information? Because the one thing that is key, once you monopolize information, it means an opportunity for us to come and tender for those opportunities is in vain. So that is very much key. And the other issue is that how do we begin to find progress as local SMMEs to say this is the status quo of the progress, this was the first phase, this is the second phase, so that from where we are sitting, we are able to access this information and be able to analyze, is it worth attempting to tender this one or it is not? So that is very much key. But to emphasize again, the issue of procurement governance, my people, please, the issue that the PLC should be part of evaluating, it can be proper. Really, that one, it cannot be proper. But one thing that should dictate, I believe, they advocate for opportunities that you are presenting today. Then they also verify if indeed local people are benefiting. In closing, what are the roles of the PLO? From my experience, you get appointed as a subcontractor. When you get to site, I've got my own technical people who I've been working with over time. But the PLO has got a list of his own people, his own friends. I'm making an example. How do you begin to deal with that and manage and control that situation? What are the guidelines that are there in terms of employment? Because this might be the first phase. As a subcontractor, I cannot be in a position where I'm resourcing funds or whatever that needs to be resourced for me to engage and manage the issue of recruitment. So that is the other thing that is very much key. That should be clarified. And as the PLC disseminate this information, once you resource them, let them be able to indicate to us, not only us, But even the people who are looking for employment who are not SMMEs, to say once we are successful as subcontractors, how do they begin to benefit on this project? Thank you very much.
Thank you, my leader. I'm going to try. We don't even have time. Let me give Mr. Mtaung the mic to actually answer. Yeah, I think someone must just be brief so that we can be able to move to the next session.
Let me try to be brief. But you have almost caused problems for us to a certain extent. Because I don't remember in any meetings, Dominic, where we agree that the PLC is going to be part of evaluation. I don't. Probably somebody might have slipped that. But let me respond. One, there's an understanding between ourselves and Emalahleni that because we had to take advantage of the length, we've got a smaller portion of the roads as people of Delmas. And we had a choice of saying Delmas for Delmas and Emalahleni for Emalahleni. But that's why it's saying Delmas and Emalahleni PLC, right? So which means you might find a person from Delmas actually doing some work across on the other road to Emalahleni. And you might find a person from Emalahleni working on this side. But there's got to be that balance. And Cabanguti Gube win for Tina because their road is longer, ours is a bit small. That's one. Two, Dominic is here as a contractor, right? So this session is happening because of the process that is taken by the PLC and the SANRAL. Right? So let's move away from the blame game. We're living in the age of Twitter, Facebook, and these newspapers that we're talking about. No information that the PLC will be going around and disseminating. Such sessions would be happening, and there is a PLO appointed. There's going to be transparent advertisement. And then the verification process. Gandhi, why do you want to blame? And Dominic, you must put this to test. If your adjudication, you see, people are watching there on YouTube now. If your adjudication must be a transparent process, that it must be live, I'm saying so be it. On the basis that transparency, we said there's verification, CIPC. We're saying everybody, when they have tendered, Dominic, I want you to publish the list. If that list is going to be published at the municipality or in any social media platform or any virtual platform, let it be available so that somebody sees that the PLC and the PLO, they've never said, I'm not local. Then when you go to adjudicate, I want to put SANRAL and everybody to test. Because people are accused of removing tax clearances and so forth and so forth. Let the adjudication be transparent for everybody. And you will issue a notice that today we are going to be adjudicating. So when that adjudication is done, if it's for 5 hours, we are all watching in the comfort of our homes. It's not true that people have not come to this session. Go to the YouTube channel. People have connected virtually. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Muka. I was going to be long, and I was going to try and explain that I didn't say the PLC is part of the evaluation because they can't be. It's SANRAL processes. So we appoint the main contractor using government principles. Then we give the. Yes.
All right.
So I'm saying we do a procurement process to appoint the main contractor. And then we give the main contractor a subcontracting procurement document, which is a tender document that he must use to then procure the subcontractors. So that is what I'm actually trying to correct, to say those are the processes. He can then be influenced in that process because the first question is, have you followed SANRAL's document? If someone says to him, please appoint this guy or please do this, the first question comes, have you followed this document that you were given to actually do the procurement of subcontractors? And the moment there is no answer, he can go to jail because he's not followed a government document. It's as simple as that. Ladies and gentlemen, before I close, I would like, because like I said, we've got 2 sessions today. There's another session that will be starting at 1 o'clock in another venue. But bengicela ukuthi umeya lana asivalele mhlambe aphinda sivulele with the second session that we are actually going to go to just now. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thanks, people that are coming from SANRAL. Thanks for the people of Victor Khanye. See, we will always want the people of Victor Khanye, whenever there are opportunities, to benefit. You see, I was saying in another meeting, Elingilang, Tina bantu base Victor Khanye, fuze sizixolele. Fuze sizixolele. Because the issue of us casting aspersions in everything, it's not assisting us. Now, when Sandral came here, I think it was early last year or late last year, October last year. It's when we have said, look, every time when you see people back, they are cutting grass, it doesn't end. You don't know those people. And our people here, they are unemployed. And there is a lot of poverty here. While imisebenzi khona. Then we said, look, whenever there are opportunities that are done by any institution, they must benefit the people of Victor Khanye. The first session, Leia Bakona, was about that. Now, you see, that's why I'm saying, Fuzesi Kolel. Uguti, if, let's say, because this thing here, PLC was advertised. Zanguti, no, other people were handpicked and be put there by Sandral. No. There was adverts, people went for interviews, and they were appointed. Now, that's why we are here, to say, what are opportunities that must be benefited by our people? And they are here, by our Shuguti, Ayini. Because us coming here was just to see good the people back home base Victor Khanye and abantu abalang base Victor Khanye and vele ngiyanaz nonke. Yabona? Now us is to say Bo Skosana and Dominic, Botabo and Tate Matlabe. Opportunities that are there must benefit our people. But it's unfortunate, the tenders that have been issued, you said how many tenders you've issued, 1 or 2. Now, it will be a company one, that's why we are saying that company, if ever is appointed, it must make sure it hires abantu base Victor Khanye. Because if, let's say, we are going to say, it can happen. That's one person. So that's why if Zeguti says but now, same time, he must make sure he benefits other people from Victor Khanye. Now, we want to thank you, Sandra, and the stakeholders that are with Isandral every time, because he prefer saying that they started grade 1. Now they've grown within Isandral. We hope that is going to happen. Ngabanye betu. You see, Skosan, sen kuluma kaningi nani ukuthi si prepare si zame ukwenza le process ibe fast yabo. Ngoba nasitshela ngalento le sometime ukuthi you are busy with this with that, but ngathi slow nyana yabo. Asizame ukuyi fast track. Sikwazi ukuthi abantu ba Victor Khanye ine poverty eningi, ine unemployment eningi. So if ever we are frustrating this thing, then we will make sure that our people are benefiting. But in the nutshell, we want to thank everybody that has attended this session. I think it was insightful, informative. It's going to assist you, Uguti, niyenze ama preparation for you then to benefit Gulama opportunities that are there. Because these opportunities, they are for our people here in Victor Khanye. We don't want to be long. We just want to thank you, Uguti. You are coming, Nizogwenza land. Like what Thabo is saying. You see, go YouTube, see live. That's Bugayela Band. When I'm seeing. So that means it's unreal. Gule fourth industrial revolution bakamba kambein. Nati fuzaska bakabe gajal. But ge I Haifel Chronicle mahalanget. I think somewhere where you advertise Ku Chronicle is fine. We are supporting that. Second thing, or another matter. Now, you see, when we establish Ibutleng Development Center, was to say, let's have in our A1 last corner who told our my information call. You see, angaz mhlambe angithi lapha kule information center, it's for everybody. Ukuthi kunobani mhlambe ongamthandi, but the information ilapha, and the information that we need. So that Butleng Information Center, as he said, and the information ilapha is going to assist us. So we want to say to yourselves, sinbonge business people base Victor Khanye. Siyazi ukuthi nizokhula ngokuthi nibambisane no government wenu. Why your government? Sanral is a state entity which is under government. So, but iseshine bayenzayo ukuthi bani inform about what is happening there. Siyayibonga. Thank you, Dad.